All right, we're officially recording, so official welcome to Team Time. Let's get sharing, and let me check out everybody. Thought I heard a little mouse come in. We're good? Good. Hey, Christy. All right, this week we're talking about growth-seeking chain breakers, which is a fancy way to say we see growth and we see obstacles as the way, which is habit of transformational leadership number 3. And if this is your first week, we are doing the habit of transformational leadership with Optavia. We've kind of started a series here. So we are on week 3. There's 6 weeks of it. Got it. There's 6 weeks of there's 6 habits of transformational leadership. This is going to be a little more condensed this week unless I talk a lot, which may happen. So bear with me. But what does this mean? What does we see growth and we see obstacles as the way mean? Well, it means that we are striving for personal, business, and community growth regardless of our current environment. And when an obstacle appears, we realize it is there for you to grow. So, as transformational leaders, we are only at our best when we are growing. And I think that's a really cool way to think about things. So when you have a problem that arises, like kind of what we're going through now with the technology stuff, as we're learning to not be problem solvers, but solution creators, try to look ahead. Let me stop sharing for a minute because I'll talk about this. Try to look ahead and create a solution, right? So if you have a problem, a client that's having issues or that wants to like exchange a few fuelings, then they can do a swap in the group. Or, they don't have to call in and be on hold for an hour and a half to exchange 3 things. So make sure that we're connecting with them and giving them that option and kind of alleviating them having to call. So if there's any way that we can kind of come between and try to help them not have to call, that's great. So, that's just that current issue that's going on. But this applies to everything in your life. Always try to seek a solution. Don't try to problem solve, because problem solving is always backwards thinking, if that makes sense. It doesn't do you any good to problem solve. It's whatever happened has already happened. What you want to do is create a solution so that doesn't happen again. Try to figure out how you can improve. So that's a really important lesson to learn. And it's all about perception. So what is the obstacle you perceive? Learn how to reframe it. So how can you view it differently? And then seek growth. So what is the gift? This is a positive spin, which is what we are. We're positive people because we live at a higher level than most regular humans because we're Optavians. So what is the gift within this obstacle that I'm willing to embrace? If you go into things with that mindset, it changes everything, because it's not about being right. It's not about being wrong. It's about what can you learn from the situation? What gift is in this? And I know a lot of y'all you have a strong personal faith. It's the same thing when you're going through something. God is teaching you something. There's a gift. There's a lesson in what you're going through. It's not just happening to you, right? It's refining us. It's making us better. What's your perception? How can you change? So last week's Team Time, habit of transformational leadership number 6, we take responsibility and we play above the line. So if you were here last week, we learned a lot about that. If you think the obstacle should not be here, then you're falling prey to the universal human paradigm or mindset that something is wrong. As a leader, there's no obstacle that will derail you, because you will use it to get where you want to go. Go back to that compelling future you created for habit 1. I lead from the future. You desire to grow into these things. So know as a leader that no obstacle will derail you, because you will use that to get where you want to go in your future version of yourself. So how does this apply to clients, right? I'm sorry, y'all, for clearing my throat all the time. have a negative reaction to the area we need to grow in. This is our human tendency. So when you're faced with a problem, it is our natural tendency to have a negative reaction to it. That's something that we have to learn to overcome, that we have to learn to grow. And I'm going to stop here for a minute and talk to y'all. So the thing about it is, I was talking to one of my friends that's a coach today about this stuff. And we've been talking a lot about going outside of your comfort zone, right? And what ends up happening is those things that test you like no other, or that embarrass you, or that you are ashamed of, or whatever. Those are the things that when you push into those and really figure out how you can grow and really seek that opportunity to grow and look at it like we said earlier, like, what is the gift that this is trying to give me? Because there's a gift somewhere in all this craziness and all this madness. There's some gift. There's something that you are meant to learn, but it's all attitude, right? So you have to push into that with an attitude of, there's something to learn out of this. Otherwise, it's just a problem and it frustrates you like no other. And you get angry and you get upset and you do all those things that we talked about before when you go below the line, right? That's our tendency. So same thing with your clients, right? What happened? Hold up. So I can't lose weight because I can't coach because. These are the ways that this seeps into the more basic things, you know. If you have a client, well, I can't lose weight because every time I get going good, my friend at work brings in this homemade cake and I have to have it. Okay. Is the cake the obstacle or is the cake the way? You know, it depends on how you look at it. And I love it. If y'all saw in the group today, and I'm going to shout him out, it's a good thing he's not on, but Christy is. So Jonathan was talking about the friend with the hamburger or cheeseburger or whatever. It's hilarious, right? And he was like, lick him in the face. But then asking him, what did he learn? And his response was hilarious as well. But asking him what he learned from it, and he said, well, I learned that it's looked down on socially to lick someone in the face, which is hilarious. But then also that his why was bigger than that cheeseburger, you know? So that obstacle, that challenge was an opportunity for him to learn. It's not an opportunity. I mean, it can be a failure. I mean, if you look at it as a problem, then it becomes the opportunity to fail. But if you look at it as a challenge, it becomes an opportunity to learn. And there's a huge difference there. And even those little small things, they matter for your clients. And so when you're coaching a client, if they keep hitting a wall over and over with the same stuff, don't tell them what to do. Ask them what they're learning. Like, what are you learning from always hitting this wall? You know, and dive into that with them and say, you know, there's not a way around this wall. There's a way through the wall, right? That's the important thing, is we have to equip them with the tools to get through that wall. And that doesn't mean it's us. Remember, we're not a resource here. We're a guide. So sometimes it's things like they just need to read chapter 3 and 4. Like they are having some motivation issues and some trying to figure out what to do. Well, just because you know chapter 4 and you go, this from chapter 4, you need your primary choice, your secondary choice, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, what is she talking about? Or what is he talking about? What is my primary? Well, then you explain what a primary choice, secondary choice is. They need to read. Like, and if they have an obstacle to reading, that's okay. That's another opportunity for you to say, if you really truly want to succeed, and I really care about you succeeding, then reading those chapters are imperative, because they're going to help you learn how to be motivated and how to make change. And that seems to be an area where you're struggling. So the resource is the book. You guide them to that resource. And if you can embrace that concept, it sounds so simple, but if you can embrace that concept as a coach, you will set yourself up to have time freedom, and you will truly empower your clients to make giant changes in their life, because they're gonna be able to do it themselves. They're gonna be empowered to learn, empowered to grow. and empowered to become the best version of themselves. So resist that, temptation to just give the answer or to give the solution because you've been there before. And look, it is real talk. I am super guilty, like super, super guilty of this because if you remember from last week, we talked about like the drama triangle and stuff, like being the hero coach. Just take a moment to that's who I was, and I still struggle with that. And it's like we talked about last week, you have to work at it. You don't learn the drama triangle and you're never in it again. Oh man, I know about that. I know what's going on here. This is the drama triangle. Oh, I'm not going to do this. And then you're like, I can help you. Just do this right here. And you're like, empower them. Take the time. It takes a little bit more time up front to empower a client. It saves you time. And also the most important thing, it creates the opportunity for them to be empowered. And that's what matters. So is it an excuse your clients are using or your coach teams or whatever's happening? They can't coach because I can't bring on any clients because, really dive in and what is the because? Like what is their reason that they are coming up with for this stuff? And really, how can they dive into that? Because the obstacle is the way. A lot of the times it's fear, it's doubt, it's things that these concepts they have about who they're supposed to be or what their clients are supposed to do that they're not doing. And remember, we don't get anybody to do anything, right? We awaken potential and we awaken intrinsic motivation. So that's our job. And that's what we can do in abundance once we learn these types of skills to be able to know that okay, I'm gonna ask a question in the chat. I want you to know, if you know this, the answer to a question is always a what. Does anybody know this? I want to see. I'm gonna give it an awkward minute. Yes, boom. Hopefully you've learned that from me. And if you didn't, you learned it from somebody, and I love it. I don't care who you learned it from. I think it's awesome. So the answer to a question is always another question, because that's how we go into someone's why. That's how we figure out what's really the root of what's going on. Because let's be honest, we're all guilty of a surface level answer, right? You're all guilty of a surface level answer. What's wrong? Laura Canino, up in the unit, running the unit. What's wrong? It's a very surface level thing because it's not like, oh, you really want to know what's wrong? Let's go sit down and talk about it. We don't have time for that right now because somebody's maybe going to coach in a minute. But the truth is, like, what's really wrong is way deeper or way bigger than what they're sharing with you. And how do you get to that is always another question. Y'all are rock stars. I love it. So guess what? If you haven't faced many obstacles yet as a health coach, just wait, because either you need to set bigger goals, or the more people you help, I'm trying to get this out of the way. The more people you help, the more encounters you're going to have with obstacles, right? Because it's inevitable. Goodness, this PowerPoint. Okay, y'all look at this picture. This is a big deal, right? So which do you see when you're looking at something? Do you see an obstacle? And you can see this is all perception, right? How do you look at it? This rock that's in the road, is it an obstacle or is it an opportunity to grow? Is it an opportunity to learn? Is it an opportunity to climb? Is it an opportunity to figure out what's going on? It's all how you perceive it, right? As you grow as a leader, you learn to become an obstacle hunter. And what does that mean? It means when you make that shift and realize that obstacles are the way, and that's how you grow, and you start learning that growth is key to you becoming a higher version of yourself, not just a better coach, but a better person. You start seeking opportunities to grow. You start hunting for these obstacles. And so how that applies, obviously, is in your own life. You know, when something's nagging you or something's challenging you, you know, man, I really need to dive into this. And that's a great opportunity really to reach up, you know, reach up and say, man, I can't really put my finger on what's going on, but I know this is happening, right? Sometimes you just need a different set of eyes. But knowing that when you start looking for things, then the obstacles are going to pop up, and those are opportunities for you to grow. So then you're like, let me find an obstacle because I'm going to grow through this obstacle. And again, it's kind of repetitive, but the more transformational you become, the bigger your obstacles become. Obstacles, help it. Obstacles. This is cool because transformation versus transaction. And we haven't really talked about this a lot. Let me see what my time is. We're good. So let's pause a minute and talk about transaction versus transformation, because a lot of what we've learned is you want to be a transformational leader, not a transactional leader. And that's not really true, right? You still need the transaction part because you still are transactional. There are some parts of what we do as a health coach that are very transactional. Send in your daily messages, you know, doing those structural things that we always do. Welcoming your client in the group, celebrating their success in the group. Like those types of things are transactional. The more transformational you become, because that is the hard stuff. That is learning these, you know, skills of identifying things, seeking growth through them, leading from the future. It takes work. It's not so just, oh yeah, this is what I know how to do. Oh, copy and paste. Okay, send. That's transactional. There's nothing wrong with transactional. The more transformational you become, the better you'll be at transactional. You don't undo transactional. You still need those skills. You just learn to be better at them, really. I mean, that's just what happens. So that's an important concept I think we need to learn, because it's not either or, because I was even taught that when I was coming up. It's not either or. You're both. We're all both. And one's not bad, you know? Like sometimes you're like, oh, they're a transactional leader. Well, I mean, so are you. So, you know, check your heart, right? All right, so more transformation will become, the bigger obstacles will become. I love this quote. I thought it just applied to what we were doing, because everything is, once again, how you look at it. So change the way you look at things, and things you look at change, right? Pretty cool. Seek mentorship. So this mindset thing, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So if you can learn that, that's huge, right? It's such a, what is it, like a one-word change? There's one word difference between it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Or maybe two words. My grammar is not my strong point. Okay. So anyway, it's a very small change, but it's a very significant change for how you operate as a leader and how you show up in your life. Because let's do another quiz real fast. In the chat, if you're the first person and life is happening to you, what part of the drama triangle are you in? There's three parts, right? Victim, villain, hero. So if life is happening to you, what part are you playing? I see it. Maybe there's a delay. Y'all are doing it. It's awesome. Okay, so do we want to be in that role? No, we don't. And a lot of times, you can see that if you start learning more about the drama triangle, and y'all can go back and see the slides and all that from last week. But when you're a victim, you learn how to become a challenger, you know, because we all fall into that role. It's just that higher level of awareness that matters, because it's not that you're never going to be a victim again, but when you know that and you can recognize it, then you know how to become a challenger. And if you're a hero, you learn how to become a coach, right? And if you are a villain, you learn how to become a creator. Wait, did I say that right? I said it wrong. Check my mind. So a victim becomes a creator. A villain becomes a challenger. So Fix your notes, Gail, because you're tearing it up. I see you writing it down. So a victim becomes a creator, a villain becomes a challenger, and a hero becomes a coach, which is perfect because a lot of us are guilty of the hero thing. So, and it's a very small difference between those two. So go back and, check out the training from last time or look at the slides, but those are small changes that you make to switch roles. But it's so important to recognize that when you're in a situation and you say, this is happening to me, no, it's not. That's a victim. You're in a victim role. What can you do? What can you create? What are you going to do to grow from the situation? What is the gift that you can get from this situation? Because it's happening for you. And once again, I love talking about faith in here because a lot of us have faith, and if you don't, you understand it at least, and it applies kind of universally. You believe that all things work together for your good, right? So when there are bad things happening, are they working together for your bad? No, it's in the Bible. All things work together for your good. So do you see things as happening to you or happening for you? Because if you have faith, you know that God is working all things together for your good. So when you come to a problem or you come to an obstacle, it is an opportunity to grow always in some area, to improve, to be better. So always take the opportunity. A different vantage point matters. So this is where it's going back to, we're not meant to do life alone, right? When you are caught up in a problem and maybe you're trying to handle it and you're getting very frustrated, when you know those things that we talked about last week, when you're dropping below the line, when you realize that you're dropping below the line constantly with someone or some situation, that is time to reach up and say, I don't know what to do about this, but I constantly drop below the line in this situation. Because usually it just takes another set of eyes to go, well, what do you think about this? Or how do you think you can handle that differently? And it just takes that opportunity for someone else to pour into your life to unlock that key, the door, take the key and unlock the door for you to have that opportunity to grow and that learning moment. And look, this happened to me a million times. Well, maybe not a million, but a lot. I exaggerate a little bit. But when somebody says, well, what about this? And I'm like, you're right. And I have been below the line on that like 25 times in the last 3 months. And it was a simple little perception change that mattered. That's what fixed it. But it took me reaching out, to my mentors and saying, I'm frustrated with this. I don't know what to do about it. This is what's happening. And, y'all, if y'all don't know Charlene, oh my goodness, this woman is a master at this stuff. She is queen personal development. I think she has she's got some kind of catalog in her brain where she stores personal development quotes or something like that. It's insane. She's just really? Oh, honey, really? Let me tell you this right here. Have you ever heard this? Boom. And it's so anyway, she's pretty awesome. Last thing, this helps you create an amazing future for yourself and those you serve. Isn't that what we're all after, right? We're all here to try and move forward. And, if you can learn that, then I'll issue this challenge. If you can learn to constantly be evaluating where you're at, and this goes all the way back to the beginning of the book, what is your current reality? When you take that current reality, just like you do with your map every month, if you're doing your map, or at least writing your goals down, if all you do is write your goals down and you don't fill out the map, who cares? It's fine. Just as long as you're doing something to figure out where you are when you're starting and where you want to be. That's all the map is, really. But if you hate the map, throw it in the trash and write it down on a piece of paper. Write down where you were at the end of February and where you want to be at the end of March, because you're getting a current reality of your business and then the future version of your business. It's the same thing with your health journey. If you're still in your health journey, your current reality wasn't from January. So if you rocked January, that's awesome. Celebrate it. It's great. I'm so excited for you. It no longer matters. Your current reality is March. Your current reality is today, like right now. And what are you going to do from today to move forward to achieve the future version of yourself that you want to be? That's what matters. And when you can start doing that with your clients, when they let you, then you will change their life, because they get hung up on all these things. You know, like, oh, this weekend, I've been really wanting sushi. And my best friend called me and she wanted to go get some sushi. And I went and I had sushi. Now I'm out of fat burn. Doesn't matter. What's your current reality right now? Boom. Where are you at right now? What do you want to do moving forward to your future self? Who do you want to be? Oh, you want to lose 15 more pounds? Do you think the future version of Jane Smith would be eating sushi? That future version of her, she's down 15 pounds. Do you think she ate sushi last weekend? No. I mean, she stayed on track. So you're getting that advice from your future self, because that future self is who you want to be. But you're looking at where you're currently at and you're moving forward. And that's the same thing. Like, once you have a client that gets to maintenance, they ain't done. They're not even close to done. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, it's just starting. And I was talking to Kelly about this the other day, because I only got 1 minute left. Y'all hang in there with me, because this is good stuff. I was talking to Kelly about this the other day, and the issue with 5-in-1. The issue with 5-in-1 is it's like the tortoise and the hare, right? People get on 5-in-1 and they lose weight so quickly that they hit snooze. And they go, you know, I want to lose 30 pounds. Well, you lost 15 in 3 weeks. So when that temptation arose, you were like, man, I'm halfway to my goal in 3 weeks. You know what? I'm going to sleep on this chocolate cake over here. And then they get discouraged. And then they see the tortoise pass them, the one that was consistent, the one that might have been on a different version, but they're killing it. They're staying focused, and they're hitting their goal. Next thing you know, the tortoise got their goal, and the hare is still back here sleeping on some chocolate cake because they can't get past it, you know, and they lost, you know, and their mind's all blown, and they're like, oh man, if I'd have just stuck with it. And it's like, yes, we know, because we all do it. You know, like, it's a constant process of learning that oscillating pattern versus that advancing pattern. And that is the current reality. And how do you break free of that, right? Those are chains that we're in, that, you know, most of us that are on program, we didn't all of a sudden gain our weight. We had issues. We have emotional issues. We have all these conflicts. We have these excuses and these reasons and these body image things, all these things. It takes time to work through them. So if you can be very clear on what your goal is and try to constantly move your clients in an advancing pattern, and we do that by reassessing the current reality with them and moving them past what they've already accomplished. Because a sense of accomplishment isn't always a bad thing, but a sense of accomplishment can make you oscillate. Because once you've had success, you lose that emotional conflict that you had that got you started. You know, say you have a client, for instance, that is on blood pressure medicine and they need to lose 40 pounds. Well, in a month, you got them off blood pressure medicine. Well, guess what happens to their emotional conflict? It goes, shoo. And even though they might still need to lose 30 pounds or whatever, they relax. And it's like, it doesn't matter anymore. Yes, you got off the blood pressure medicine, and that's awesome. And we're so excited for you. Right now, you need to lose 25 pounds. Your current reality is you are someone that needs to lose 25 pounds. Are you ready to go get those 25 pounds off? So it's going from right now to what your future goal is. And that's how you keep people on track. You reassess with them. You're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? Oh, that's awesome. What's next? You know, because it's them. They have to do it. They have to do it in their mind. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to share my challenge. So your challenge, we had a challenge last week and nobody did it. And it's okay. I still love you all. I still love you all. This week, I'm going to post in the group a little, a post, and you'll see it. Your challenge is a time that you saw an obstacle, but decided to go through it and learn, and what you learned and how you grew. So I'll make the post, and throughout this week, when you find an obstacle, or you think of a time that you had an obstacle that you went through instead of tried to go around or over or beside, you went through it and what you learned from it, and then comment in that post what the obstacle was, what you learned from it. That's it. It'll take like 15 seconds. So that's awesome. If you'll do that, it'll help you and it'll help other people, because the truth is we all have a lot of shared obstacles, and we've all been trying to go around them for years. We try to take the easy way. We try to save time. We try to do whatever we can. We procrastinate. We do all these things. These are all below the line things that we all do all the time. But what learning about these things is great. Applying them is better. And then sharing that knowledge with other people is getting to mastering things, because you're starting to teach. You're starting to share those things out loud, and it becomes, a bigger thing than just what you learned and what you applied. So anyway, that's it. I went over 4 minutes. Sorry. I'm going to stop recording now.